Okay, my name is Tony Caudle. I'm the Deputy City Manager for the City of Wilmington. I'm considered an essential employee because I head up the emergency management function for the city, and I oversee several services that are provided to the various departments. Sure, I feel safe going to work. We've got a very good environment in which we try to adhere to social distancing, and we wear masks. We've made it a primary function of our operation to keep our employees safe. So yes, I do feel safe going to work. We do also make sure that we keep 6 foot separation in most cases, and when we don't, obviously the masks are in place. Finally, I'd say that we've done staged operations throughout the pandemic in order to try to address the knowns and the unknowns throughout the process. Well, the city's worked with New Hanover County, which is the county, of course, in which we're located. They are the emergency management function or provider of the function as recognized by the state of North Carolina. So they control very much of the activity that goes on in the county. They also house the health department. Having said that, we've been mostly responsible for the provision of services throughout our portion of the community, the incorporated portion of the city, and of course trying to make sure that we keep basic services provided. In terms of what's been done on a joint operation, the city and county have worked together to run an emergency operations center throughout the process. The pandemic started in March. We've been running an EOC, Emergency Operations Center, since then. The most important thing probably for us is that we've been guided by the assistance of our county health department and the folks that have actually delved into and rolled their sleeves up and gotten into the specifics of the virus, at least as much as we know at this point in time, giving us good advice that's based on statistical data that changes almost on a daily basis. I think folks are generally taking the pandemic seriously and the need to protect themselves as well as others. Like anywhere, I think we have the debate that goes on with regard to whether or not masks are needed or whether we should keep 6 foot separation. Having said that, I think most people, especially as the pandemic has begun to peak again or to go up again in terms of number of cases determined as well as number of cases in the hospital, I think we see folks taking it a bit more seriously. Oddly enough, we actually have folks who are telling us now they feel more threatened than they did back in March. And I think that's a tribute to the awareness that we're trying to bring to this issue, as well as the fact that it is more widespread, as we find employees within the city who have relatives or they themselves are actually exposed to the COVID virus, that tends to make people take things a little more seriously as well. The pandemic really has changed the way in which we do work. We found ourselves early on in the process of sending most folks home and trying to work from a virtual format. It's been a very enlightening thing for us. We've learned a lot about what we can do in a virtual format. We've also learned what we need to be doing one-on-one or in groups facing one another. So we've had a real deficit of ability to do those kinds of things. Probably some of the most difficult things that we've had to encounter working around the requirements for public meetings for City Council. Not only do they have to be virtually telecast or have to be interactive in some sort of way, we also have to accommodate live audience that will be in the facility in which we're actually doing the work. So that's been a real challenge. It's been a real learning experience, and we've had some great success that's been emulated elsewhere in the state. Having said that, I think we'll walk away from this knowing that we've learned a lot about what we can do in a virtual format. We've learned the shortcomings of the virtual format, similar to the way and probably most people have seen in most of the YouTube videos that make fun of virtual meetings. But having said that, I think it's both a plus and a minus, and we'll continue to work our way through it. We are now entering a phase where we're trying to work on some of our quasi-judicial, some of our legal meetings, and that's going to present some real challenges for us as we have to provide the opportunity for witnesses to put on testimony and then those witnesses to also be cross-examined. So going to be some interesting times. We would like to think we've been over it by now, but we continue to work through it and accept the challenges and learn from them. Past experience in emergency management is not necessarily a good indicator of this response. But having said that, I think we really did have a good framework. New Hanover County has worked through many hurricanes. We test and test again for responses to other things such as nuclear disasters or hazardous waste spills, those kinds of things. So there's a framework in place that actually gives us a response mechanism. We come together as a group, both in the county and the city. We operate under what is known as a incident management system, which is a format that's kind of a plug and play. Having said that, everybody knows what the framework is. In this case, we're using a lot different ingredients, and so we're having to adapt on the fly as we move through the process. But I do think that, generally speaking, we were pretty well prepared for it, as well as anybody could expect. Having said that, I don't think anybody was ready for what we've got, and we are learning, as I said earlier, and I think everyone around us is learning, making us a better organization, making us better prepared for the public responses that we're going to be doing in the future, because certainly we will face something like this again, or we will face a derivative of that, or some hybrid between something like this and perhaps a hurricane response, which could even be more disastrous for us. So a lot to learn, but I think we had a good framework in which to place it.